Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Novogratz, and this is Next with Novo. Emily.
Hello.
For those of you who don't know Emily, she's also known as Pplpleasr, and she's a kick-ass NFT artist. I'm going to let you talk mostly because I was out really late last night and hungover. You wrote an article, how crypto changed your life, and it's a beautiful place to start. So why don't you, a little recap so we can start understanding your story.
For sure. It was an op-ed piece that I had wrote for Fortune magazine, which, by the way, I brought you a gift.
That is awesome.
There's a little message for you.
To be on the cover of Fortune before you're 30 years old is pretty damn cool.
I mean, yeah, I'm not on the cover, but I have...
You are the cover. You are the cover. It's better than being on the cover.
We are all on the cover. I would like to think of it that way. This is meant to represent the entire crypto community. At least I hope so. But anyways, so yeah, I had the fortunate opportunity to collaborate with Fortune magazine, and then Robert Hackett, who is one of their senior writers, asked if I could write an op-ed piece, and then I had never written one before, so I was like, sure. And I think it was cool because I had always sort of just internally thought about how it's crazy that, in the past year my life has changed so much, mainly because of crypto. I did sort of passively get into it in 2017. I was just basically buying shit coins in 2017. Nice. And then but it was always separated from my career, right? And then so sort of in my op-ed, I was just talking about how around last summer I was actually supposed to go work at Apple.
Dream job. Parents proud of you.
Yeah, everyone was very excited, and then because of the pandemic hit, they rescinded my offer. And then
terrible. Richest company in the world, and they would rescind the offer on young grads.
I mean, I think it was
I might
more
boycott Apple.
It was actually more because of the USCIS shutting down during the pandemic, and because they needed to get me a visa and everything. And then so the USCIS during that time just stopped processing.
Donald Trump did not like Asians.
Yeah, I guess he just didn't want me to be here. That's fine. And then so I ended up unemployed, and this was the first time since college that I was just without a job or a plan. And obviously I was mainly just concerned about paying my bills, paying rent and everything. And then so then during this time I was just applying to all kinds of jobs, literally even jobs that weren't even matching my skill set or anything. I was just trying to sort of apply for anything, and then I was just getting rejected from everything. I think it was just a tough time because of the pandemic and everything. But to just make myself feel more fulfilled and productive during this time, I started creating artwork in my free time, and just to make myself feel a bit better as if I'm
did
not.
You consider yourself, you were a graphic designer. Did you consider yourself an artist when you were a graphic designer? Is there like a shift that happened?
I always considered myself an artist. I think everybody is to some degree. I know that sounds cheesy and lame or whatever, but I do think that everybody is creative, right? It doesn't matter what kind of medium you're using. If you're a coder, you're still a creative person, And so I've always been a creative soul, obviously, but previously I think the way I saw it was just I was trading my skill set to execute somebody else's creative vision. And then during that time when, I think people think of it as an artist was just me executing on my own creative visions. So just using my skill set to translate the creative thoughts in my brain onto a canvas or digital software. And so anyways, during this time, I had created my art account called Pplpleasr. And it was just sort of a self-expression
so let's
hobby
stop for a second. Like people pleaser, like I'm a people pleaser. So it resonates with me, and I've got a daughter that's a people pleaser. But like, why people pleaser?
Just like you said, it's just my personality. That's just who I am. And when I was making the account, it was just one of those moments where I really needed an idea, and I didn't want it to be like, oh, I have to put my phone down and think about it for another 2 days or something. I just wanted to just create an account right then and there. It was one of those things where I was like, maybe I just create one now. I can always change the name later or something. I mean, that just didn't end up happening.
When you're like a 98-year-old woman and your grandkids or great-grandkids are around, they're going to be like, people pleaser.
Yeah.
It's stuck.
it literally just stuck. I didn't even have time to change it or even improve it or anything. And then here we are.
I love alliteration, so that's a good choice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So then I created that, and then was just sort of, using that as a form of self-expression and just to buy time while I was applying for jobs. And then that was also happened to be the summer of DeFi. And so one of my good friends who's really deep in the crypto space, which I didn't even know this about him, reached out to me that summer and was just like, hey, do you know that something really crazy is happening in crypto right now? Because, obviously through the 2019 bear market, I think a lot of people had just kind of forgotten about crypto. And then he's like, but something really crazy is happening. You should check it out. And then so I went on crypto Twitter and then was just browsing around and stuff. And then I realized a lot of people are promoting things using memes, but nobody has, they're all made using Microsoft Paint or something. And none of these are actually really high quality promotional assets. And then so I just, as a joke, said to my friend, I was like, oh, I'm so desperate for a job or income. They should just pay me to do these memes or something. I could totally do it better. And my friend took that to heart and then DM'd somebody from Urine Finance at the time. And then basically they saw my art Instagram and then reached out to see if I wanted to collaborate on something. And then I made my first sort of animated short for DeFi, and then the rest is history. And so my op-ed in Fortune just kind of talks about how not only that crypto and DeFi sort of opened up a new means of investment for me, because that's originally what drew me to it, but also just that the whole community of people are just so welcoming and they're very passionate. And they're just not afraid to prop people up, because I feel like in the traditional world, so much of everything that we do is based on credentials or connections or who you know. Yeah. And even the NFT space started like that as well. And when I jumped into crypto and DeFi, I had no followers on anywhere, on Instagram or Twitter. I had 0 followers, but people don't really care. I mean, this is obvious with all the anonymous profiles on there. You can literally not be a person, but as long as you're putting out good work, they don't care what you look like, where you come from, who you know. If you're doing cool stuff, people will notice and not be shy about propping you up. And I think that's really sort of what changed my life about the space. And I'm really grateful for
It's
that.
cool because in the NFT space, more than almost any other in crypto, the communities seem really supportive. Mm-hmm. When I think about what's gone on in the last 15 years, really, even in the world, decentralization has a lot of advantages, but it's a lot of disadvantage, right? We have this balkanization of the world.
Sure.
And in a lot of the crypto protocols, it's like war between, one British soccer team and the next. And it's funny, you don't see that in NFTs as much. You definitely, you look at the art blocks community or your community, you definitely see huge, kind of support systems, which is a nice, change of breath.
Yeah, totally. I see it as almost an inversion of control, where now it's sort of just this whole concept of being creator first and, supporting the underdogs and that kind of stuff, which I think is really cool.
Which cuts into the crypto ethos, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's a little bit of, screw the establishment. Speaking of the establishment, 3 weekends ago, I drank too much again, and I, with Emily and a few other crypto degens, crashed a pretty established dinner party.
That was amazing.
I thought it was a cocktail party. It turned out to be a sit-down dinner for 80, 2 beautiful tables of 40, very fancy art people, and then they had a kids' table they set up at the last minute for us. I threw Emily to the lions and put her on stage, and she crushed it. But what I thought was really interesting to me, you could talk about it, was in a really nice way, you kind of said, we don't really need you guys. These are the richest people in the world, literally the richest art collectors in the world. And she wasn't being rude. She was like, our community wants to celebrate our artists and support our artists. And the crypto community has gotten pretty damn wealthy. And so talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so for a lot of people who maybe were first acquainted with me, or sort of my magnum opus happened in March when I auctioned off it was my first NFT auction ever, actually. And it was an animated piece that I had made for the Uniswap V3 launch. And basically what happened was I guess all of my fans or internet friends who had known me throughout DeFi summer and appreciated my work and everything, and also obviously became wealthy through crypto and stuff, came together and formed what is called a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, and named it after me because I guess this was the first time that this had happened where a DAO was formed just specifically to go bid on a piece. And then so I guess this was sort of a really standout event to the entire community and really fell under the whole Ethereum ethos about, decentralization, community, and collectivism and everything. And so it was kind of a really special moment. And I guess this is sort of what I explained over at that dinner, was just people are through crypto now are able to pool together funds really quickly and efficiently in a way that was never possible in a traditional financial or just any kind of system. And so in a way it's like this even applies to like film, right? So recently I collaborated with like Linda Xie from Scalar Capital and this production team to that they're doing the Ethereum documentary.
Yeah,
and
crowdsource.
We crowdsourced it using a series of NFTs that I had made, and we raised over $2 million in awesome. 48 hours. And so,
because if you've ever made a documentary, it is brutal to raise $2 million. It's a brutal task.
It is. And so, like even now, I think sometimes there's often people like from the traditional world, like let's say the film industry or something, seeing that they think, okay, Web3 is the future and we want our seat at the table too. How do we find somewhere to fit ourselves in? And so they maybe would come to me and be like, we want to produce something for you. We can finance, like their angles, like we can finance it for you. And then I would the same thing, tell them the nicest way, like, I actually don't need financing because, obviously with decentralization and crypto now, it's like, and I have my own audience. I think I can just do the same thing like I did for the Ethereum film, for example, and just drop NFTs and then it could be crowdfunded, So I think it's interesting to note this sort of inversion of control or just sort of the shift in power from wealthy individuals to a collective I think still somewhat wealthy, but, you don't have to be a gazillionaire to, sort of dominate the film industry to do something cool, right? And that's what makes this space so exciting. And that's similar to what I touched on at that dinner.
It's kind of cool, like, if you think about PleasrDAO, really one of the first DAOs to do one artist, and now it's grown into a much bigger organization or a bigger fund. It's almost like a collective fund that token holders own shares in. But also crowdsourcing the documentary, you're kind of cutting edge. Did you always grow up cutting edge? Did you have like funky haircuts and like dye your hair purple? And
I think I was always kind of weird, probably growing up. And I do hope that, growing up, even in school projects and
stuff. You grew up where?
I grew up in, so I lived up until probably like end of elementary school when I was in Vancouver, like Canada. And then I moved back to Taiwan, where I stayed until I was about 18. And then I came out to the U.S. for college. So I kind of split my time,
Is Taiwan, like, Korea's edgy. Like, I've been to Korea a lot. I haven't been to Taiwan since my first baby was born, who's 26. And this is a long time. Was growing up in Taiwan edgy at all, or?
I wouldn't say it was edgy.
No.
Yeah, so I don't think that location-wise I was growing up anywhere edgy, but just in school projects and stuff, I always tried to do things in a more creative way. Maybe that's just how my brain works, or I find it boring otherwise. And so, hopefully, it almost felt like, very serendipitous for almost an accident that I fell into where I am today in the industry. But hopefully I won't take it for granted and continue to do new and cool things, or cutting edge, as you would say.
Talk about PleasrDAO a little bit. Like, they've done some cool stuff.
So it's literally, a collective of prominent individuals within the DeFi space and crypto. There's a lot of like founders, builders, passionate crypto people.
Is it like a secret society? No one tells who's in it. Kind of like Skull and Bones at Yale.
You can actually see the full members list on their website. But I mean, because they sort of operate as a collective. So it's not like, there are certain, pretty prominent individuals in there. So I mean, Robert Leshner is in it. Suzu is in it. I'm Stani from Aave. Leighton from Pplpleasr. I mean, I could go on.
Emily told me I could get into PleasrDAO about 4 months ago, and I dropped the ball and I stumbled. I was busy. It literally is. Talk about how crazy this space is. I had a benefit for criminal justice reform of all things, but a bunch of NFT artists showed up for various reasons, and I got pictures of them. And if I had just bought the NFTs, if I joined PleasrDAO, right? Alexei Cherniak was there. Ringers were literally selling for almost nothing. And now they're selling for millions.
I know, it's
all in
crazy.
4 months.
Yeah, it's crazy. This space moves so fast. It's like crypto time dilation, right? 1 month on crypto feels like 6 months in the real world.
God, I'm getting old fast.
Same, don't worry. We're all going down together.
Do you collect NFTs?
I do.
Outside of the PleasrDAO?
Sure, outside of PleasrDAO. Yeah, I mean, just inside PleasrDAO, just to sort of point out the main pieces that they've collected is the one of one by Edward Snowden for 5.5 million, the original Doge meme image that was collected for 4 million and recently fractionalized. They also obviously kind of collected my Uniswap piece, which is their first purchase ever, and also the the one of one from the Tor project by Xshells. That one went for 2 million. And recently a new piece that I can almost talk about, but it's going to be huge. So,
almost.
Almost. It's coming, but it's going to be
Everybody
huge.
get ready because it's going to blow you away.
Probably. Yeah. And then
I am terrible at keeping secrets, and I've kept this secret.
I'm so glad that you did. And
I'm the worst secret keeper on the planet.
Me too, actually. So, I probably...
Because we're people pleasers.
We are, yeah. It's just succumb to peer pressure, I guess. But on a personal level, I love just collecting, honestly, not even as investments, just pieces that I think are cool. Recently, I collected these really cute Pokemon illustrations. And I also collected a few. I mean, I have 2 Bored Apes. I minted them though, so I didn't spend a lot of money on them, which is good. I used to have 5, but then I only have 2 now.
We were saying Steph Curry today.
Yeah, he bought one
and made it his avatar, his profile pic. And so when you think about culture, first Jay-Z with the CryptoPunk, and I told everyone you got to buy a CryptoPunk, and I didn't buy one myself like an idiot. And now Steph Curry, and so the biggest names in culture. Moving into our space, it's really freaking cool.
I know. It was crazy when Mike Tyson made his profile picture a cool cat, and it's still the cool cat. I think it's hilarious, first of all, but it's honestly really wild because I think both. I
need to get a profile picture. It's an NFT, and now I'm panicked to pick the right one.
I've
waited too long.
I tweeted recently saying if you're not using an NFT as your profile picture, you're not gonna make it.
Trust me, I feel huge nervousness every night. Within the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have an NFT as my profile pic.
Yes.
People send me NFTs myself, but they're all kind of a little weird looking. I don't make nearly as good of a cartoon as I thought I would.
Well, actually, I recently went and splurged on an NFT. I spent 20 ETH on this really dope piece of art by this Taiwanese artist and then made it my profile picture. So that's my biggest flex, I guess.
Nice. What's next?
I don't know, actually. I think, as you were saying, crypto moves so fast. I feel like, I could think something and then the next day my life goes a completely different direction. I'm sure everyone in the industry relates to this, but I think my sort of North Star or guiding light here is just to hopefully use my platform and my voice and area of influence to spread crypto positivity and elevate the community somehow and just do cool cutting edge things that are not boomer and utilizes technology. Those are the kinds of things that I'm interested in. I
keep telling people I identify as Gen Z, but damn it, my art collection is a little more boomer.
I do actually have something coming up very, very soon, which you should come to the dinner for, by the way. It's basically I did a collaboration piece with Steve Aoki, and it's going to be a one-of-one where he scored the music, I did the visuals, and we're auctioning it off at Sotheby's fairly soon, sometime this month. And part of the proceeds are going to go towards, basically me and Steve are going to create a vault that we're going to use to purchase NFTs from up-and-coming female artists, because I also feel like this is something in the space that I really want to address. Is just why are there no other female art? I mean, there are, but just all the prominent NFT artists are predominantly male, and I really want that to change, because that's something that obviously happens in traditional art, fine art world already. And we have a chance to set new ground rules, right? So hopefully, the idea behind this fund is that, when Steve and I will go and curate and then collect from, let's say, an up-and-coming female artist, and then he'll use his audience, I'll use mine, we can tweet and endorse them and hopefully bring some light to their work and maybe change some lives. Who knows?
I met Steve Aoki. I love the guy. We honored him at a wrestling benefit. His father, Rocky Aoki, was a great wrestler before he founded Benihana. And so I had the whole Olympic team, and Steve jumped into one of his jumps, and then they were literally holding him like a young baby. He's so tiny in terms of weight, and these were giant wrestlers. But I have some amazing pictures. We actually should make it NFTs of like Steve jumping with the entire Olympic wrestling team.
Is that where the inspiration for all his jumping photos comes from?
No, he was already a jumper.
I have to see these photos.
I'll show you. That's pretty awesome. Well, thank you. This was great. I hope you enjoyed it.
I hope I looked great.
You look better than me, certainly.
Not being hungover helps.